Today we're going to do my week 2/1 for EMEA Pickems, but first let's start with the best and worst round of last week, and we'll start with the worst round. And for this one, I've gone for a round that is kind of a bit clowny. It's kind of a bit like, what the hell is going on?
Showed him a little bit of respect, I think. Yeah, the ult is going to get you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, any round you can get, but he's not even clearing corners. Okay, there it is.
He's cleared the two of them, but as this has happened, I mean, flashed himself in the process, got the info. His team need help, though. It's a rapid play by G2. They just took it straight to them. That's a kill up towards the top section of mid. Rafa's going to try and contain this one. I think they've dropped a rifle for them. Pete making his way up through and around. The main control given up. Spy drone, Trent forward, close quarters, looking for the repick. This is mad. This is chaos, man.
This is insane.
Look at the way this is. What is happening? Cut his way up. I mean, his Fury players are on a bloody island now. Up the gut through mid. What's the escape plan?
They're going to crunch A from spawn, Brent.
But he's straight up into him. There's no setup for Havoc when he's making a play like that. I mean, you got to think a couple of layers ahead.
It's madness.
Mechanical ability surely can't bail you out. And yes, Valen, he's hot on it, man. Swings for the trade and prize once more. Staring down the barrel of defeat for this particular round. Can he pull off another miracle? Not quite. 11th round for G.
Now, there were quite a few different nominees for that worst round of the week, but I went for that one because I thought it was quite funny. For our best round of the week, there are also some elements of the worst round of the week as well.
Bit of a flash coming out, and he's trying to catch Jit Boys. Flown, kind of ignored, but still, damage found. Killua in with a trade, just to try to hold around connector.
Yeah, it's nicely done, but what do you look to do now? You've got two players still coming up from the sewers in towards an Arc Crunch, and you do also have Dai playing in the back of Dugout. Some smokes towards the site start to happen, though.
Okay, at least the salvos will get sent through. Ooh, and as soon as the salvo gets sent out, TUG thinks that that's where the tail might be positioned. Lo and behold, it's just going to be Killua watching the angle. So a good kill being picked up, as well as the Prowler just to check closer back towards Art. Talon trying to do their due diligence, but at the same time, Invi has his sights trained in to the site. Still though, okay, Thai kind of sneaking past, but Jesse Vash has snuck up right behind him as well. Good little flash out, and that's going to be another pick. Team Secret working alongside the numbers now. Talon might have the sight, but a bit of a tap is not going to be enough. Swaps on over, but look at Killua! Swings along a swivel.
Yeah, so a bit of a terrible whiff there, let's just put it like that, but a great ace from Killua there as well. So now let's dive into the picks for this next week, and we're going to start with EMEA, which of course haven't played any games yet, so these, you know, will probably be harder in one sense because, you know, we don't know which teams have improved and which have got worse, maybe even, you know, what they'll play and all that kind of stuff. And there are some fairly difficult games in here. Let's start with Team Vitality versus Giants, which you would think wouldn't be too difficult. But with Team Vitality, you know, there's kind of a weird vibe going on right now with the roster move from Trex. So yeah, it's all a bit up in the air. I do still think you have to pick Team Vitality though, just, you know, because they do still have, you know, Durka and Les and Safe, and Kix has been pretty good as well so far this year, so you still do have to pick them. BBL versus Carmine Core. I think this one is probably the hardest one to pick overall. On Plat Chat, I went for BBL, and I'm going to stick with that pick. The reason I'm picking BBL is essentially that of the two teams, and I do think this will be pretty close, you know, BBL did look the better. Now, they have had to make a change in essence as well with Vac to Magnum. But I do still think that they looked the better. It was actually kind of thinking back about Yampi's calling and the fact that that was actually pretty good. Loon, of course, was very good. Sociable was very good. So I'm just kind of banking on the fact that BBL looked better during kickoff, and if they continue to improve, they actually could be a very good team. And so I'm going to go BBL there. Team Heretics versus Apex, we won't spend too long on that one. I'm just going to go Team Heretics, even though they did play disastrously in the last time we saw them, but I'm still going to go for them. Similar for Foot versus Koi. This one shouldn't take too much thinking. I'm going to go for Foot, of course. Fnatic versus Na'Vi. I mean, on Pledge, we guaranteed Fnatic. So my pick is Fnatic. But I feel horrible about this. I really, really feel horrible about this because I'm not sure that Fnatic deserve that kind of respect. And Na'Vi, I think we are underrating perhaps as well, because in your mind, like, oh, they went out and kick off, you know, pretty early. But they should have beaten Fnatic if we're being real. Team Liquid versus Gentlemates. Obviously, Team Liquid have made a roster move as well. I am going Team Liquid. Gentlemates are a bit of an unknown. They could. It wouldn't shock me if they won this game. This is the game that I would like a kind of, you know, what you might suspect being heavy underdogs. I could see Gentlemates are the kind of team that I could see, you know, doing some big work, but that's what I'll go for. Okay, on to Americas. You can see in week 1 of Americas, I got 4 out of 6 right. I got NRG wrong. I got Crew and Loud wrong. NRG versus Furia. Do we believe in NRG again? They put them NRG first up again. Look, if they can't beat Furia, then, you know, I mean, God knows what will happen from then on out. Sen versus Crew. I think Crew, despite winning their game, it wasn't like as clean as perhaps you'd hoped. Obviously, the first map was a disaster. I think I'm going to go Sen, but again, a part of me does think that Kesnit might just go crazy in this game. And that's kind of the problem with Crew, right? Like, you never know when they'll just turn up. But I do think that Sen are the kind of team that will deal with Crew fairly well overall. Because they should, like, firepower-wise, they should be able to match up with them. 100 Thieves versus EG. I mean, this is a terrible game to have to pick, right? And 100 Thieves, as lost as they looked, as I pointed out in my video yesterday, look, at least they found good opportunities. I actually thought that EG, they had some nice stuff, but I didn't think that they were that great, to be honest, against 2G, despite winning 2-0. They easily could have lost Haven. It is what it is. So I will still stick with 100 Thieves. I'm just going to pick G2 every single game this year, but I do think that if they're going to lose a game, it'll probably be to MMBR. But I think I'm just going to say that, especially during the group stages of things, I'm just going to pick G2 every single week and take my 9 out of 10. Right? So yeah, I'm going to go G2. Loud versus 2G. Let's go for Loud, of course, because probably the inverse is true about 2G. I'll just pick against them every single game, and if I get one wrong, I'm fine with that, right? I'll take my 1L, but I'll take all the other wins. And Lev versus Cloud9. Very tough game. On Platchat, I mean, this is the worst guarantee of all time. You should never guarantee Cloud9. And to the point that, having thought about it a bit more, this is exactly the kind of level bounce back. This, like, these teams, you cannot base them off 1 week. These two teams in particular, Lev and Cloud9, I think from week to week will be very different operations. I think the Lev, I've changed my mind. I'm going with Lev in this one, which I guess now is potentially an upset. Okay, on to Pacific. And here in Pacific, there's some interesting games that could go in a couple different ways. Team Secret versus Zeta. I just think the Team Secret have looked better, so I'm going to go for Team Secret. This is kind of the battle of the bottom. Like, it's possible Zeta could win, but I think that EMV will be the best player in the server. T1 versus Nongshim. I really did want to pick Nongshim here, but I don't think I will, because Meteor is very good at this video game. Genji versus Paper X is an absolute treat. For all the wrong reasons, because whoever loses this game, the fan base is going to go crazy, right? Someone's going 0-2, and you're already fighting uphill to even make playoffs at that point, right? It's so tough, this. I think that Genji showed more, though. Despite Paper X winning a map, I think Paper X have so much to work with. Like, you know, they have so much to work on, sorry. Like, you know, the role stuff, some of the comps of, you know, like their Icebox comp is extremely attack-sided, and I just don't know. DRX versus DFM. This is where I'm going to go for the big shock. Okay? You know, we saw it last week. There's always a big shock somewhere. Boom beat Genji, right? I did get 4 out of 6 here in Pacific as well. And this is my one this week. DFM over DRX. Why DFM over DRX? Well, basically it just comes down to the fact that if DRX play those same comps, I think they're trolling. I don't know why they're playing these comps. I don't think, one, it suits their team really at all. Some of those comps I don't think are even very good. Even though I didn't love what I saw from DFM, I think that DFM have shown enough, you know, throughout kickoff and here that they could beat DRX. They have that in them to potentially do that if we get a good DFM. Talon versus RRQ. Man, RRQ. That split attack side was rough. And I could have shown the whole RRQ split attack side for the worst round of the week, but we would have been here a while. Talon are an unknown, like, you know, you never know what you're going to get each week to week, but I will go for them. And then, of course, I'm going to go global. For my boy Elevated, I think they looked pretty good against DFM, and I think Boom obviously looked pretty good as well. I mean, coming in, like last week, you might have looked at this game and be like, oh, this is a snoozer, but now this actually kind of looks like one of the best games. So, yeah, I'm quite excited to watch Boom versus Global, to be honest, but I will go global. And then just quickly, in China, last week I forgot that the games start on Thursday, and so I just forgot to do them. But let's just quickly run through these right now. I would have got the Wolves one right, of course. So Trace versus JDG. I am going to go Trace. I do think they got a bit unfortunate to lose to Wolves. They lost a lot of clutches. They lost all the pistols. But we will stick with Wolves, of course. No explanation needed. They're better than G-Gluers. Tai Glue versus Tech. Tai Lu have been okay in moments, but I guess I'll go Tech. If they won one game, I guess maybe they can win another. Actually, no, I'm going to go Tai Lu. DRG versus EDG. Oh my goodness. EDG lost 2-0. They didn't look very good, but picking against EDG is always kind of, again, it's one of those where you take your 1 or 2 losses and you take all the other wins, I think. FPX versus Nova. I've kind of liked what we've seen from FPX thus far. I think they look pretty good overall. And AG versus Billy Billy. I like Billy. So those are my picks for this week. If you want to join the Pick'em groups, then I'll leave the codes in a pinned comment, so you can go and join the VLR Pick'em groups. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow when EMEA finally starts.